Hello everyone and welcome to Azam Sharp YouTube channel. Now this video is part of my course Supabase for iOS developers, the complete bootcamp. The course is available on my website azamsharp.school and you can pre-order the course for just $89 right now. And once the course is completed, the price will be updated to $149. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we'll be covering in this course. You can see setting up the budget app, setting up the actual application for inserting, deleting, updating the budget. Then we're going to look at the MV pattern, how we can use that. We're going to also learn about the relationships, authentication, storage, and there are some other sections that are coming in, including edge functions, real-time API, and even many-to-many relationships in Supabase. So this will be the complete course. It's not available anywhere else. Nobody is creating such detailed course on Supabase. This is the only one available and you can get it for $89 or you can simply subscribe and get access to all the past as well as future courses. So this is the best deal for you. Check out azamsharp.school and the link will be right there in the description. Now let's go back to the video. Our next task is to allow the user to delete budgets. Right now you can see all of these budgets we have created. And yes, all of these are stored in Supabase database. So how do we delete it? Well, one way to delete these budgets is to simply allow the user to swipe from right to left and then show the delete button. For this, I will have to change the list. I will have to substitute the list with a for each and then wrap everything with the list also. So something like that. All right. And I want to move this task onto the list itself. Great. The next thing I want to do is, since now I have for each, I should be able to use the onDelete modifier. And in the onDelete modifier, this is where I can perform the delete. But instead of implementing the code over here, I can simply go ahead and say delete budget. And delete budget can be a private function for this particular screen. So delete budget, there we go. Async. Now, do we have to make sure that this is async or not? Well, let's see. I mean, it depends how you're calling it. So if we make this an async function, just like the fetch budgets, then we will have to find a little bit of a different way of calling this, right? I mean, we have to use the index set and all that stuff. So we can do that if you want. That is perfectly fine. Or in the delete budget, what you can do is you can find the actual thing that you want to delete and then delete it from there. So multiple ways of doing that. I mean, I can, even if I go ahead and do that, index set, it's not really going to be happy because the perform, the closure, it's not really supporting the async part of it. So it's kind of up to you how you want to go about it. Let me show you one way. So we can do over here onDelete. And again, completely up to you. Over here, we can go ahead and get the actual index. So I can say guard let index, and I can say index set dot last index is fine. Okay. And using the index, we can find out the item that we want to delete. So we can say budget to delete. You can even call it just budget. That's fine. And we can get access from budgets of index. This is going to give us the budget. And now we can call delete budget, passing in the budget that we want to delete. So I'm going to change the signature over here and I'm going to just name it something like this. All right. And now since we are inside this task closure, unstructured task, we should be able to use an await operation over here. So this means that if I'm trying to delete something and I go off the screen, I still want this task to not be canceled and still go on. Now again, there are multiple ways of doing that. We can actually do this, all of these things inside the delete budget also. So it's completely up to you. There are multiple ways of doing the same thing. So inside the delete budget, now the question is, well, how do we delete the budget? All right. We already have the item that we want to delete, which is the budget itself. We know that we have to use the Supabase client, right? So we can use Supabase client.from, and over here, what table are we talking about? We're talking about budgets. So we're going to say budgets table. Okay. And delete. So we're going to delete something. Equal. This means that the column ID will be equal to some value. So if I say budget.id, the problem is that ID itself on the budget is basically nullable, optional. So if I try to provide this over there, it's not really going to work. So what I have to do is I will have to get the ID. I mean, you can call it budget ID if you want, that's perfectly fine. We get the ID. And again, if there's no ID, there's nothing you can do. So now we can substitute this with our ID and we'll execute it. Great. This has to be try await, and we are going to wrap this with do and catch. Print, error, whatever the error is. So this is going to allow us to delete from the budget. Now, after that we are deleting from the budget, it may delete from the budget. I mean, the Supabase database, it will delete it from the Supabase database, but we have our also local copy of these budgets that we need to make sure that that is reflected and that is updated. So after we delete the budget, what we need to do is we need to remove the budget from budgets collection or budgets array. That's what we need to do. And one of the simplest ways you can do is simply assign, you can perform a filter on it, filter, and just select all the different budgets, but don't select the budget where the ID is, only select the budget where the ID is not equal to the ID. Now, you might be over here saying, hold on a second, isn't that force unwrapping and shouldn't you be concerned? Well, these are the budgets that are coming from the database and they will have an ID, right? So there's no point doing, I mean, if you want, you can do it, but force unwrapping over here is perfectly fine and safe, all right? So removing the budget from the budget array, so we are going to perform a filter and we're only going to select the IDs where the ID is not matching. And that should refresh our interface also. So let's go ahead and try it out. Let's say that UK trip is done. I want to delete it. I also want to make sure that the UK trip is there. So, okay, it's in the database right now. Let's delete it. Okay, see that? UK trip is gone now. It was right here, it's gone. And it is updated. It's no longer over here. I'm going to delete my San Francisco trip. I'm going to delete the entertainment. There we go. Both of them are gone. Great. So it looks like delete is working. If I go ahead and save this, you can see that since they are gone, the only thing we see are the groceries and vacation. And I can delete those as well if I want to, but we'll just keep at groceries and vacation. All right. So the delete part is covered. The next thing that we want to do is how can we go about updating an existing budget. So that is something we're going to be learning about in the next videos.